Hey everybody, welcome to the Mirko Movie Guys. I'm Clint Chaffer, and this is my buddy Chad Weeks.
We're a couple guys who like movies and like to talk about movies. Clint, who are we going to talk to tonight?
Today we're going to be talking to Laura Bayston, all the way from London.
Yep, absolutely. Reaching out across the pond, taking time out of her busy schedule. She's done a ton of movies. An excellent actor, and I think again, Hollow is my favorite of hers. I don't know about yourself, but I feel like that movie was perfect, and she did a great job in it.
I just can't stress enough how big of a fan I am of hers.
Absolutely.
I think you asked me what my favorite is. I don't even know if I can say because she's just done an amazing job in all of these. Wrote Old Windows, and that thing is getting a ton of awards. I think she just got Best Actor award from that.
She did. I'm sure she did. I think this is because she's got a couple of those, hadn't she?
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
So great conversation. Stick around. Be sure to hit that like button if you like this. Subscribe and leave us some comments too. So
what do you say that in between, like before, from now till we actually interview her, we just change our entire wardrobe, facial hair and everything, and then for the outro, we'll just change back.
Go right back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Use the magic of movies to CGI it. Is that in the budget? I don't know. I don't deal with the budget, so is that in the budget?
Yeah, I think that can work. So
let's do it.
Well, hey, with that, grab your popcorn,
fill up your drinks,
and enjoy the show. Laura, welcome to the Mirko Movie Guys podcast here. Thanks for joining us here today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, how about you introduce yourself for our listeners out here?
Okay. So I'm Laura Bayston, and I'm an actress, however you prefer to say, in the UK. I originate from London, from Eastern, hence my accent. But I'm now living in a lovely place called the Cotswolds, which is in Gloucester, which isn't too far from London, to be fair. Yeah, and that's me.
Very, very cool. This is back-to-back UK interviews here, so we're gonna have to really train our listeners to use the closed captions and stuff like that for those accents.
Okay, all right then. My accent ain't that bad, is it?
No, it's not at all. So you work with Paul on Hungry Joe and Hollow, correct?
Yeah.
You guys seem to be doing a lot of business together. You guys work together pretty frequently. Is that true? You guys have a lot of back and forth on your co-oping on different things and stuff?
Yeah, sure. We've worked on quite a few little films together, but I guess the most prominent would be Hungry Joe and Hollow. And A Girl and Her Gun as well was a kind of precursor to that, which was Paul's first kind of witty drama. I think prior to that, he was kind of doing comedy, figuring out what he was really good at. And it turned out he was incredibly talented, good at drama, gritty, very British drama. So, yeah, we've worked on those three films, and they're the most prominent ones, but we also did a couple of others, also Old Windows, and then we've got a couple in the pipeline. But yeah, worked with him for a long time, like 7 years, and I just love working with Paul. He's just brilliant, he just totally gets it, and we seem to be on the same page. We're both from working class kind of backgrounds. His is different from mine. You'll understand Paul speaks very differently to me. He's from Bristol, whereas I'm from East London. But it doesn't matter because the sensibility is still the same. And, you don't always find that. You don't always have that connection with people. But with Paul, I just got it straight away. I was very lucky. Yeah.
Well, Laura, one of the things that I've noticed on all the movies that we've watched of yours, which you are absolutely phenomenal in every one of these movies. So just hats off to just the talent that you bring to the screen.
Thank you.
Started there, but the thing that I guess I'd like to ask is these are all very heavy roles. How do you find yourself preparing to deep dive into some of these to just? I mean, that's got to be a challenge just in itself, let alone the acting on screen, but just the emotional preparation, I guess, going into these.
Yeah, they are quite deep and dark. I mean, Hungry Joe is quite is quite dark. Hollow was more emotionally unsettling. Um, I was very lucky with both of the projects that I had the time to really study the script, and I had the time to be given the script in with enough notice. Sometimes you don't get that. You might get 3 weeks notice job, but I had that time to really think about it, to really process what was happening with the character. But also, I love that kind of work. I just find it, I don't know, it's a real escape for me. And I think the darker, better, the less makeup that you have to put on, the worse and the more ugly you can look, the more interested I am in the role. Because to me, that's finding the truth, and it's relatable, and it's just being honest, and that's what I think it should really be. It should always be coming from somewhere honest and truthful. But that's not to say that my life is really dark and miserable. But you have to find.
Well, and that's
You have to
I was going to say that you're much more a bubbly person than what your roles portray, and it's kind of you never know what to expect, but it's not quite like I said. These are very dark roles. Hollow, I think especially when I watched that one, like I told Paul, I think that's the perfect word for that film, because
Yeah.
you seemed hollow. You seemed like you were missing something from your life, and that it was very, very dark and very, I don't know what else to say about it, but it was very not what you are right now.
Yeah. It had to be
the
dark.
other thing you said that it was, you said that this was emotionally trying or something to that effect on Hungry Joe. Is that, do you feel that? Like, I know you said that it was an escape, but do you feel that did it take a toll on you to be that dark personality for throughout that shooting and stuff like that? Because
For Hollow, yes, it did. I mean, because I really felt that to do the role justice. I mean, me personally as an actor, I'm not a method actor. I don't, go full on, having to talk the accent or being that person for 3 months. It's kind of somewhere in between. So for me, acting is a physical experience. It's not saying words out loud and hearing the word resonate and it affecting the other person, which is fine for some actors, and it works fine for some. But for me, it has to be a very physical experience, and I have to feel it from the soles of my to the top of my head. And I think with Hollow, the only way that I could portray sort of loss and emptiness and grief was to just have this physical thing of not having something. And for me, the way that worked, I was really hungry, and I lost about 2 stone in weight, which is, I don't know, however you work in pounds, I lost about 2 stone, which is quite a lot. I've put most of it back now. And I was just consistently hungry throughout the whole shoot. And it also gave me something else for my brain to be kind of latched onto. And it made me quite anxious. And it made me quite irritable, and I felt that that's what the character needed, and she needed to feel hollow and hungry, and whether that hunger for the character was the loss of her child, or whether for me it was the loss of food, it just gave me that physical attachment that I really needed. I don't know if it makes sense for most actors, but it makes sense for me. Yeah.
It's actually funny that you say that, because I think back to some of those different scenes, and when you say like the I was related to being hangry, right?
Yeah.
and I can almost see that, like where it is like, you could be more irritable, you could be more,
like you think back to the how dare you scene from when he's talking to the vicar, when she's talking to the vicar and how dare you or whatever, like I could totally see that as just that quick irritability. And that's one of my favorite scenes, by the way, just the way you responded to that whole it's just two people sitting there talking in a church, and just I love that scene so much. I love the back and forth with you two. It was perfect. That was a great scene. Loved it.
Amazing. Cole Collins is a great actor here in the UK. He's very, very busy guy and consistently on TV. And he's great to work with, really, really, a really, really, what's an actor that he just gives you so much. And yeah, he's brilliant. I can't praise him enough, and loved working with him, and I hope I get to again. Yeah.
So kind of talk about that, like, just the relationship that you have, like, with the other actors on set. If you're, you're working with somebody that can really bring out a scene, or that is more impromptu, that you kind of got to be on your toes, ready for them to, improvise a little bit. How do you kind of prepare yourself with working with just different folks on scene?
And also, how does that improvising, that sort of thing, how much of that comes into the dialogue with you guys as well? Because I feel like you're like listening to Old Windows, it seemed like your conversation was very natural, and like the things you said. So I didn't know if it was if everything was in the script, or how much of that was actually dialogue that just your conversation, your improvisation.
I think it's preparation, absolutely preparation, know what your lines are, knowing what your intentions are. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of to and fro with the dialogue, if you drop a word here or if you bring up a word, as long as the intention is the same and it affects character in the same way, then it will keep you on track. But try to be as prepared as possible. I don't like to run lines too much, especially in something like Hollow, because it really needs to be fresh and it really needs to feel in the moment. But obviously, you do run your lines before, just where you're both at, how comfortable you are, and you generally will tell straight away how you're going to deal with that actor, how quickly you're going to work together. And I've been really, really lucky. So in pretty much all my jobs and all my work, every person that I've ever worked with has just been so generous and really easy to work with. So I think it's just knowing what you are there to do, how you are going to affect the other character, and being prepared, and just and also being prepared to be in the moment. So, if things go slightly off kilter, just that ball in the air and just bring it back. I probably find that it's the best take,
Do you ever find, like, as you're working through some of that, if there's differences in creative ideas on set, as an actor, do you bring that up of like, hey, Paul, I think this would be a better thing to do, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as for just some of the input, I think it's that relationship between the actors and the director and everything else. I just think that's a unique dynamic.
I think with Paul in particular, I do ask a lot of questions, and I'll always talk to my directors. I've got a habit of going up to them and saying, right, talk to me, and letting them get off their chest what they feel the scene, whatever it is we're about to do, and they want it to play out. But I think with Paul, I will always go to Paul and ask 1,000,001 questions about what's happening, why, what the character's doing, what the other character's doing, and just even silly questions. No question is a silly question, as far as I'm concerned. If it answers something, then it might be silly to somebody else. For me, it makes sense. I think Paul's very. I mean, Paul is he just respects actors. He works really well with actors, and I think he puts a lot of the trust into the actor, and he trusts that they're going to deliver. And when you can feel that coming from the director as an actor, it's just everything, because you're completely at ease and you feel that you are able to just deliver and be in the moment, rather than worrying about what they're thinking, or, oh, I've done this wrong, or have I done that wrong. I mean, of course, Paul will pick up on things if there's a different angle or a different, if you've dropped something major in the dialogue, but that, but Paul gives you the trust, and so you trust him back, and obviously just keep talking and keep asking questions in the run up to it. I think the minute you step on set, you should be ready to go, because you've done all them questions before. Yep. But things all come up in the moment, like.
Absolutely. So you're working on a new project, Safe, correct? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yes, yeah.
I know you said you were busy.
Others, got a few sort of spinning, but yeah, that's definitely one of the big ones. Yeah, that I'm really excited about.
Can you give us? Yeah. So can you give us a little bit of an overview on what that one's about, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, Safe. So it's something that I think we can all relate to. I'm working with a cracking British director called Debbie Howard. And she came to me with script and said, look, I really want to know what you think, and would you be willing to work with me? And I read it and I was like, yeah, absolutely. So it basically is dealing with violence against women on UK streets, which is really prevalent over at the moment. There's been so many, women just being taken off streets and consequently not coming home, or being violated, or being raped, this, that, and the other, all horrible stuff. Um, we want to make a really short little 7 minute film that highlights all those microaggressions that women just have to put up with on a day to day, going about their daily business. In this case, it's my character just trying to get home work. She's a cleaner. She wants to get on a bus, wants to go home. But a guy rocks up at the bus stop and he starts kind of intimidating her in a way that you might think is innocent, but it's the way it's done. And it makes her feel very uncomfortable, and it makes her feel very uncertain about staying at the bus stop or getting on the bus, or where is it going to end, or is her behaviour going to antagonise this guy? And so she consequently makes a decision, and it's a decision that's either going to be a good one or a bad one. But it's a decision that's brought by these simple, seemingly simple microaggressions that women have to put up with. And we have to change our behaviour to go about doing everyday things. You constantly say when you go out with a group of girls, how are you getting home tonight? Are you going to get home safe? How are you getting home safe? Are you getting picked up? Are you dropped off? Make sure that you run. Take your keys in your hand just in case someone comes up. Have you got this? Have you, I don't know that there's many guys that have that conversation quite openly like we do. It's just an assumption that you're probably, you'd like to think that you're going to get home safe, and 9 times out of 10, thank God, we do. But it's a bit of an assumption that you've got to bear in mind that you might not. And that's really sad.
You talked to...
Yeah, it is. It's something you don't really take into effect very often. The fact, like for us anyway, because that's something that you don't realize that women have to deal with that on the regular. It's one of those things like men have to teach themselves different things. Like like when you get into an elevator, at a hotel or whatever, make sure you hit the button first so that she doesn't think that you're. You know what I'm saying? Or like all these different things that you just never even consider, but women have to deal with that on a regular basis, and that's very. I'm glad you're going down that route, because that's very cool. That's not cool, but I'm glad that you're attacking it, I guess, and making it a
It's a very female
so.
fronted project. Female director and producers are all behind it, and really just to raise awareness, really to try and get men to kind of think about their own behaviour and think about what they seem, as challenging or not threatening. It might be to a woman that's on her own. She,
correct.
Not putting all
Absolutely.
men into one bracket here, because there are a lot of, most guys are all good. It's just,
But you still have to pretend. You still have to consider them dangerous until proven otherwise, basically.
Yeah.
So and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
this is what it is.
you said really focused around the UK, but this is not just
Yeah.
not just a UK thing,
Yeah.
right?
No,
we see it all the time here and anywhere. A lot of our friends have had conversations around this, and just a lot of those uncomfortable situations that end up arising. That unfortunate that they happen, but
Yeah, very much.
So what's the timeline on that? I don't know if you have one yet or not, but when will we be able to see Safe?
Yeah, well, we're hoping to shoot that in September. So in what you call fall or autumn, we call it, September, and then we're hoping to get that moved quite quickly. And I should imagine it will be ready for probably early 2023.
Perfect.
I hope. Yeah, if it all goes to plan.
I seen on Twitter that I think you and Debbie, I think, both posted on trying to get crowdfunding for this.
Yes.
So I think there's a
Thank you for reminding me.
but there's a no, I just seen that there's a crowdfunding page up there. I don't know if you want to give our listeners what that page is, if you know what it is, or we can try sending some folks there.
Yes, it's a Just Giving page, and it's there on my Instagram, and it's on Jackalaw Films Instagram, and it's also attached to you're still over my Twitter account as well. And we've had some incredible donations from some really cool people like in our industry that are supporting us, which is brilliant. And of course, every penny helps. It all helps to get this film made, but and the more that we can raise, hopefully, the better quality film we can make. So yeah, if anybody out there wants to find the Just Giving page for Safe, please do and donate. Thank you. I'm very
Well,
grateful.
I think what Chad and I have found, what Chad and I have, started to realize, because we really haven't jumped into the independent film thing, the film side of this until fairly recently.
Mhm.
And I didn't realize all the funding struggles that end up happening on a lot of these films. I know Paul was talking about, running credit cards and self-funding, I think on Hungry Joe, right?
Yeah.
I know that y'all won a pitch contest for Hollow, but man, funding that's like 90% of the battle right there on these things.
Yeah, it can be really, really draining. And we're funding at the moment for our other short called When She Sings. Paul was really lucky. We were lucky with Hollow. We managed to get funding that was fully funded by the pitch. But in the UK, the British independent film industry is just massively underfunded. There is just not enough to go around, which, from what I hear, is very different to the rest of the world, who seem to really acknowledge independent films and really support it. And that's not to say that there isn't a support and an acknowledgement for it in the UK, but it's just not on the scale that it is in other parts of the world. And it means that there are so many incredibly talented, like phenomenally talented people in our industry, from, lighting guys to sound engineers to post-production to crew to actors, that are consistently struggling to get films made, and then therefore to, be employed and to be paid properly, be paid what they should be paid. And we just don't know what to do. I mean, we've got the BFI, and of course they will help and support, but theirs is a very small pot for a very large amount of projects that need help. And so they can pick and choose, and they will pick and choose the projects that they feel are worthy that year. And if you don't fit into that category, then you don't fit into that category. You have to find other ways to get your funding. And with Old Windows, we did it ourselves. So we all put our hands in our pockets and we earned the money and we got it made. And like we did with Hungry Joe. And like we have done already with When She Sings, we've got half of our funding privately. But we've got to a point where, we're still guys trying to work. We're still got to feed our families and keep a roof over our heads. So we need help with this because we just haven't got the rest of the funding. So we're looking at sponsorship as a different way of, sort of connecting with people that might be interested in helping us. And we'll see how that goes. But, fingers crossed.
So
it's difficult.
So you talked a lot about the industry there and stuff. How did you get into this? What made you decide to become an actor? And to get into this independent film world, how did that come about? Was this something you always wanted to do, or is it something that just came about? I don't know.
Yeah, so I've been wanting to act since I was like 11 years old. The first time I ever saw drama, that wasn't on TV, was I love TV. I mean, so many actors I know that go, "Oh, I don't watch television. No, I don't watch." And I was thinking, really? How can you not watch TV? Surely that's where it all started for you, TV and film. So when I was 11, we had this drama group, TIE they call it, Theatre in Education, and they came into my school and they performed this play. And I just remember sitting there on the floor in the hall, going, the hall of the school, going, "Oh my God, that was amazing. People do that for a job. What is it? It's acting. I want to do that." I got involved in it, there and then, love drama. And then when I was 15, I went off to a drama school called Anisher. And I did that for a couple of years, which was a kind of part-time after-school drama club for sort of underprivileged kids. And did that for a while. And then life kind of took over. 43, so I'm very old. But life took over and I ended up going off, getting married, having children, and putting that kind of dream of wanting to be an actor to bed because it's really difficult. I couldn't afford to go to drama school. Where I came from, you got a job. You left school, you went and got a job, and you worked, and that was it. And if you said you wanted to be an actor, people would kind of look at you and go, "Okay, that's nice. Well, go and do some amateur dramatics and get that out of your system, and then get yourself down Sainsbury's and work. Sainsbury's is a supermarket in the UK. So it was just something that you didn't do. And then as I got old, my kids grew up. Something kind of clicked in me, and I was like, I can't keep living like this, because I have to do it. And so I kind of forced myself to get back into it. And cut a really long story short, I went off and retrained at the Bristol Old Vic and did a 1-year course there, the Bristol Acting Academy. Came out of there, managed to get an agent, and just decided that I would start from the ground up and just scratch my way to the surface and be really picky and choosy about the sort of work that I wanted to do. But of course, you learn along the way. You make mistakes and you do jobs and you think, oh God, I don't want to do that. It was awful. That's not the sort of role I want to play, or that's not the sort of director I want to work with. And then you see the film and think, oh Christ. But along that journey, very early on in that journey, I saw a film character down for A Girl and Her Gun, and it's directed by Paul Holbrook. I knew nothing of Paul, but I did the audition, got the role, and that was my first kind of proper look into the world of independent film done properly. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. This is how it works. You can really get some great experience working with some incredible people, and it's all there. You just got to yourself out and do it. So I did a lot of films free, did a lot of work for nothing, did a lot of films for very small money, and then as time's gone on, I've got more and more experience and got a much better agent now. It means that I'm in a better position to pick and choose work that I want to do, and although I would like more.
Perfect. Well, so Paul said something about he said something about a movie about mermaids. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
A horror movie about mermaids. Are you going to be in that?
Yeah, of course. Well, that's when she sings.
Oh my! That is awesome. I'm so excited for that movie, and that was all I really know about it. But that little line, that little teaser there that he threw in at the end of our interview, it's like I want to see that, and I'm excited for you to be a part of that. Are you going to be a mermaid, or do you?
Well,
what's that?
It's all psychological, Is what you see real? Who knows? But when she sings, so that's what we've partway funded, and we look at sponsors to try and get on board and help us get it finished, because the script is phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that because I co-wrote it with Paul, but it was an idea that I had, and I presented that idea to Paul, and Paul's like, "Yeah, this has got legs." So we must have spent like 6 months picking it apart and rewriting it and doing draft after draft after draft, and we finally got it, and we were like, yeah, we're happy with this, we've got to make it. And thus far we've managed to accrue the most incredible talented crew, post-production people, music people that have jumped on board and gone, oh, you're making another film about that? Yeah, we weren't involved. Yeah, don't worry about this, that and the other, we're doing it. So yeah, it's a really cool quirky horror, psychological horror. It's not a slasher, it's nothing like that. It's all what's going on up here, which, let's be honest, the most horrific things happen in our minds.
Absolutely.
It's based in a small town syndrome, a woman who finds herself pregnant, a bit older in life, single, and she's dealing with these kind of repressed childhood memories that kind of manifest themselves into her obsession with mermaid mythology, because she's living in this seaside town. She's lost her mum, and she's kind of fixated on the memory of her mum and this mermaid, and it's all just a bit weird, but very British, very grounded in
That's what he said. Very grounded and very British, but mermaids. And that sounds like an oxymoron to me, but I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited about it.
Well, you won't, and I can promise you this: you won't see mermaids really, and you won't see any underwater shots. So
yeah.
Everything
it's not Aquaman.
It's all up here, trickery. So it's cool. Paul can sell it so much better than me. He's so much more eloquent.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I don't know. You just sold us on this, so we're excited here. So You talked about co-writing that, and also I'd like to have a conversation about just you writing as well. So, old Windows. I seen y'all are winning awards and getting nominations, which is awesome. That was a great little short. How'd you jump into the writing side?
Well, Old Windows came about because we were in lockdown, as we all were, with a lot of time on our hands, and character always felt really familiar to me. I grew up in an area of East London, and this kind of character is someone that is very sort of prevalent to that area and that time and that place, the kind of cafe kind of culture. And I've been toying with a script that I'd had for a while, and I kind of went back to it, just reworked it, and it became Old Windows. And I didn't do any treatment for it or anything. I just kind of straight from my head. I was just like, this story, and I'm just going to write it because it's just a two-hander. It's in one location. It was quite easy. And I sent it to Paul, and I was really worried about what he was going to think because I'd sent things to Paul before, and he was like, "Yeah, that's really great, Laura, but just we won't worry about that on this occasion." So I was like, no, but he liked it, and he got it, and he got the whole nostalgia of it, and what was actually going on, because it's really, what is with Old Windows is there's two conversations in at the same time. You've got your very audible, superficial conversation, which is a guy about cakes in a cafe. Actually, there's a whole other conversation that's beneath the surface, your subtext. And so how you put that on a page is quite difficult, because a lot of that is in the performance, and that's in the actor giving that subtext. So
you said that earlier, about sometimes on the acting piece, it's not what you're saying, it's just what's happening. And I noticed that in Old Windows in a couple different times where you have that little bit of silence in there that just kind of recognize what's going on, or maybe there's some facial features that are happening. And I just thought that was really powerful to bring that whole story together, right? It made it more emotional, I guess, as you're watching that.
yeah, I love that, don't you? Because it's the silences that make you lean in like that.
Yeah.
Some of the best movies that I've seen are those interactions like that. I think of No Country for Old Men when they have that scene at the gas station or whatever. Like I love those just awkward conversations that I don't know. I love the dialogue, so that's a big thing for me.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just mentioned in No Country for Old Men. One thing I always like to ask guests on our show is what if you had to choose one movie? What would be one movie to recommend to anybody that says you have to watch this movie? Maybe it's your favorite movie. Maybe it's something that just stands out to you or whatever. But what is one movie you'd say, this is the one, you got to watch this movie?
Oh my God. What do I say? Well, I love Forrest Gump. I really do. That's probably one of my all-time favorite films. And Gladiator.
That's a name
as well.
drop.
I love Gladiator.
Gladiator. See, Gladiator's more my style. I love Gladiator.
So I got to say, Forrest Gump is always on my list of my favorite movies, because I think single-handedly, it has the greatest soundtrack that's ever been put out.
Definitely.
Like in any movie.
I'd say Top Gun, but that's me.
I don't know. That's where my thought is. I think the soundtrack of Forrest Gump is one of the best. So
you can go your own way. I will always that thing now of Boris running with his Nike trainers on and his long hair, and yeah, I love it. I absolutely.
They
sorry, interrupt.
They said that they had to get his brother actually to go in to do his doubles on that one, because nobody could manifest that weird run that he has when he's doing that running scene.
I love that. That is brilliant. Oh, and the other film I absolutely love, and it's ridiculous and stupid, but I just love it if I'm feeling like, I need a laugh, is Will Ferrell's Eurovision Fire Saga. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. I don't know what you think of Will Ferrell.
I have. That's like a Netflix. That came out like during COVID or something like that. It was like a Netflix release or something like that.
Now you see Eurovision.
Very underrated film.
very underrated, but I think it's going to be the new Elf, as in it will go under the radar and then people will just go, oh my God, why have I not seen this film? Right. So in the UK, Eurovision is huge. We love it. And apparently, I think Will's got a Swedish wife or something. But anyway, he's got on board with it and he's gone, I'm going to make a film about the Eurovision. And he really has. He's just nailed it. And it's so funny. It's so stupid, but I love it. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm gonna have to watch this.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like Kayla and I watched it. It was just surprising that it's like, okay, that was awesome. Like there's a lot of different emotions in it. There's it wasn't just like a on the surface type of thing. It's great. It's a great movie. Will Ferrell is an absolute genius. That's what it boils down to. He's an absolute genius, and he's unparalleled. He can make anything
Cranston, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Laura, I just want to say thank you for taking time and coming over here to our little podcast here. This has been an amazing conversation, getting to know you, know your work, and like I told Paul, you have two big fans over across the ocean here. So we look forward to everything that y'all put out.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, totally our pleasure.
Well, hopefully we can get you talked into coming back and talking to us when the Mermaid movie comes out.
Yeah, or Safe too, because I'd like to review that one and talk about that one as well sometime.
Absolutely.
So for sure.
Oh, thank you so much. That honestly, would be absolutely brilliant, and I'd be honoured. Thank you. Yes.
All right. Well, thanks again. So this has been a wonderful conversation.
All right then. Thank you very much. Bye. Are we saying bye now?
See you, Laura. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Well, Chad, now that we, ran and changed our attire back to what it was during the intro.
Absolutely. And you know what? I feel much better without all that facial hair that I had to wear for the whole thing.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me
thanks
too.
for boosting the budget for this film, for this interview so that we could do that.
Well, I got to tell you, that was just an absolute awesome interview with Laura, just going through just some of her inspirations, all the different, ins and outs of being an actor.
Correct, and I can't wait to have Laura back on because I'd like to talk about Safe.
Absolutely.
And what was the name of the new movie she's told it, or we found out by now?
Yeah, I think the Mermaid movie that you're really excited about is When She Sings. I think they're actually looking.
Awesome title for a mermaid movie.
Yeah,
so.
they're actually trying to get budget for that right now. So,
okay, perfect.
So anyway, and Safe, I actually, since this is a little bit delayed outro versus when we did this.
We also switched our coffees out for scotches.
Yeah. But they actually ended up hitting 100% of their budget for
Perfect.
Safe. So
Perfect.
so that'll get out there for the world to see as well. So
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
excited. So, well, with that, the credits are rolling.
The lights are coming on.
And that's the end of the show.